my parents were involved in the parish of St Joseph's in Leighton, which was part of the Diocese of Brentwood. And at that time, this would have been late 50s, early 60s, they were trying to raise money to build a mission or a hostel for the seafarers when they stayed in the docks in London. So my parents were involved right from the start, and when the Anchor House was opened, well, I think about 1962, 1963, they became voluntary helpers here. And subsequently, my mother became a barmaid, for want of a better word, working behind the bar at lunchtime. And as I got involved, my mother used to bring me down here, then subsequently I would come by bus, and sometimes during the school holidays I would work with Father Heacon, who was the deputy priest here, and we'd do all sorts of maintenance work in the rooms, and then I progressed to being a glass washer and bottle collector for the barman, whoever it was at the time, sometimes my mother, and then I progressed, albeit underage at the time, to being a barman. And many evenings I would run the bar on my own in the dance hall, because in those days we, in the ballroom, we would have a band or a disco down, and sometimes my brother's band would be along. That band was called the Royal Blue Dance Band. The band leader's wife used to play the bass guitar, and she fell pregnant, and while she was pregnant having the baby, I stood in for her for about 6 to 8 months, and I played the bass guitar, so I've actually played in a band here. My brother was also involved here as well, not so much on the bar side or that type of work, but on a Sunday he would drive the coach to London. This was I can't remember, 38, 40-seater coach, and on a Sunday lunchtime we would leave here and we'd take any interested seafarers to all the sites in London. During the week, the coach would be used to ferry in voluntary helpers, workers, mainly young women from either Whipps Cross Hospital or from St Louis's Hostel in Westminster. And these people would come in to be company for the residents at Anchor House. Strictly controlled, there were no liaisons allowed, no dating was allowed, although that's where I met my wife. She came down on one of the coaches with her friends one evening, and she saw this barman behind the bar working there and thought, oh, he's a good looking bloke, I'll have to get to know him. Little did she know at the time, she thought I was over 18. But one of the bands that used to play here on a subsequent Saturday, anyway, they announced one evening that there was a special dedication to Bob the barman, and then proceeded to play Happy Birthday Sweet 16, which was my birthday that day, and my then girlfriend was not impressed. So as my wife and my relationship developed, we moved away from the area. My mum and dad were still involved with Anchor House, but I moved out to Chelmsford and I wasn't so involved then. And it wasn't until, as a chairman of governors at Campion School in Hornchurch, way back in, must be 2003, 2004, Monsignor John Armitage was our guest speaker one night at the school annual prize giving, and we were chatting away and reminiscing about what we each used to do. And at the time he was principal and chairman at Anchor House, and they were looking for people with involvement or history or enthusiasm to come and help work with a management team here. So Monsignor John Armitage, being the sort of man he is, persuaded me to join, and I'm now fully fledged trustee and possibly looking for retirement in the next year or so. Let younger people take over. So in a nutshell, that's my kind of story.